Live from the Toyota Escondido Action Sports Studio, this is the Action Sports Show.
It's time for the Action Sports Show, powered by Toyota Escondido Action Sports, featuring Jim Holfus and Dan McGranahan. And now,
you're on, guys.
All right, folks, welcome to the Action Sports Show, powered by Toyota Escondido Action Sports. And we're here live. This is the Supercross Super Panel recap show. Anaheim 1 just underway. Jim Holtis, Lorette Nickel, Bob Walker, Diana Dahlgren, Jeremy McGrath, and Mr. Dan McGranahan. We're all here live, and there's a lot to talk about. A lot of folks had their own events going on this weekend. And Lorette, I know you just got here straight from Germany.
I did.
From the plane, drove straight here tonight. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, you know, I told Dan that was my choice. So I left Vienna at, well, I think I was at the airport at 4 this morning. But I was awake at 1:45 a.m. Yesterday morning because I was excited to come home. And so a little low on sleep. But again, it's my choice.
Professionals do what they have to do.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, girl.
Do you have a good partner like sitting next to you in the plane, or anybody interesting?
No, I don't like people talking to me on planes. Please don't talk about any. I don't want to see pictures of your cat. I don't want to know anything about you on planes because.
So if someone came up to you on a plane and said, "How do you feel when?"
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
You're the worst.
No. You put your earbuds in, and
yeah.
you put your sunglasses on, and just put your head against the window, and you're out.
You know what though? I've put my headphones in, and people still try to have a conversation.
You don't give the. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I'm listening
I've
to me.
tried it before, and it got to a point. I don't like being rude, but I don't. Again, I don't want to talk to people on airplanes, so I just. Please don't talk to me on airplanes. But so I was coming.
Heard it
here. Hey,
I'm not sitting next to you any time soon.
I know.
But who do you really? You don't want to talk to people on planes. They give too much information. It's TMI on planes. I don't know if it's because it's a captive audience or they think that.
In the back of their mind, they're like, we could all be done.
I just need to
Let's
get this
make
off my
friends.
chest.
Or because you can't get away, you know. But yeah, so I just left Munich, Germany for round 2 of Red Bull Crashed Ice, and it was awesome. And the weather was actually pretty mild. It was about 30 degrees there. And American Cameron Naz won his third race.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep, it's so fun. It's a great
30
round.
degrees is like getting a tan at crashed ice,
Pretty
I think,
much.
right?
I know.
Those guys like to ski or skate at maybe like 0 probably or
Yeah.
something.
Well, we're going into Finland in a couple of weeks, and the temperature is negative 27 Celsius right now, and I think that's 0. So I'm really hoping that there's no wind.
Perfect conditions.
I know. But that wind chill is going to be gnarly.
Are you going to have to wear a face mask?
I think so.
Yeah.
But do you actually get to go out on course and give it a test run? And
I can walk the course, but
You can?
Yeah.
With spikes on your shoes?
You got to be careful. They had the biggest jump that they've had in the 10-year history last week in Munich, and it was a huge jump, 20 meters tall, and I mean,
off the start or
towards the end.
So wait, that's 20 meters.
20
that's 60
meters,
feet.
That's 60 feet.
Yeah, it was huge.
It's all these Europe facts of the track that we have no idea what's about.
I saw some people doing BMX down these things.
With
Did
spikes?
spike tires?
Didn't
think
Renner get in
Ooh,
a
that'd be cool.
in a
Now
razor?
we're talking.
Wasn't he in a
I
razor?
don't know. I didn't
in
see that,
St.
but that'd be
Paul
pretty intense.
last year.
Little downhill crashed ice and razors.
I
in the
thought that
middle
he
of the city.
was. Yeah, because Renner's a Red Bull athlete, and so I think that he was supposed to do something on a dirt bike, and maybe it got too gnarly, or like the spikes and the
Tear up the ground too much.
yeah. So I think they put him in a razor.
Yeah, I saw a
1000.
group of BMX guys doing for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, at Frozen Rush, R.J. Anderson and who was it? Bryce Menzies had a one-on-one battle with the razors with spikes on them on the ski slopes out there.
Oh, yeah?
That was pretty gnarly.
Oh, that's
Because
cool.
they're having to come down fast on the chicane. There's big grooves that are dug by all the big trucks and stuff like that. And They were going quite high clip downhill.
Wow.
It could have been gnarly, but yeah, it was pretty fun.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
Bryce Menzies came out on top of that race.
He did.
Isn't this his second year in a row, right? From based off his Instagram is what I saw.
Yes, and he beat the guy who won it 2 years ago and was second both those years, Ricky Johnson, who was out there, who qualified on the pole. And, great battle. And
those guys are actually teammates in the Lucas Oil Off-Road Series.
They used to be.
They
They used to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
sorry
pretty
about that.
interesting. And Ricky put up a really interesting post. So Bryce is on top of the box, Ricky's second, Rob McCachran third, and Bryce has studied under McCachran and Ricky Johnson for years. So it was kind of like the teachers and the students now on the top of the box, but still,
I hate when that happens.
Yeah. But he put out a really cool thing. Ricky was really cool, saying, I'm pissed that I'm not on top, but it's really cool to see who is.
I was at that event last year, and Red Bull does a phenomenal job putting that event on. It's just crazy to see what those trucks can do on a ski slope, going side by side. They come down that last chicane to the finish, and they're side by side, and it was 27 below zero last year without the wind chill.
That's
Well,
crazy.
completely opposite of this year's event, right?
Was it?
This year it was too warm. They had to.
I heard it was semi-frozen rush.
They had to blow snow, and there was no
wow.
snow. So, totally different event.
And I forgot how many spikes they said are in each tire. It's like a gnarly amount of spikes.
I'm not worried about frozen rush. Let's get to Supercross.
Let's do it.
Let's get to the real racing
Yeah,
here.
boy.
That's what everyone
Supercross.
cares
Oh
about.
my God.
We had 2 hours.
We had a heated panel last week.
We did.
Yeah, I know. These two started off. Well, sorry, it was.
Don't
G-
think it's going to cool
It
off
was
with
GL on my
longer
left. It was MC on my right, and they just went at it for the first 15 minutes. I was like,
Oh, we had a lot of fun. We were just goofing on each
step
other.
in here.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about that this week.
Okay.
The GL's not
Sounds
here to
good.
defend himself this week, so we're free
Well,
to
we
say
have so
anything
many
we want.
funny things to talk about this week,
Oh
We
God.
sure do.
related to Supercross, obviously.
I
We
know,
sure do.
right?
We sure do.
So who's
Characters out
Do
there.
we start with GL's pick to not win a Supercross race?
All
Which
right.
was? Can you remind
Here
us?
we go. No, I have the predictions right here, you guys. Last week, GL predicted 1 Tomac, 2nd Kennard, and 3rd Dungey.
So we got one in the top 3 out of the podium there.
Loser.
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 Yes.
Well, the funny thing is we did have that talk about Cole Seeley, and he was the one that was saying there was no chance,
Non-believer.
a non-factor, right, as we call it.
Correct.
And
He ran
as
with a
I
lot of that
recall,
race.
Cole led most of the laps. So,
Yeah. He
Dominant
did.
fashion.
I mean, what did he until 18? Like
Had-
lap 18?
Yeah, maybe 5 laps to go.
Oh, it was 5
15
laps?
laps. But had that race been a normal length Supercross, I mean, the lap times were long, right? So the lap times in the end of the main event were probably 104s, 103s. That was not your typical Supercross lap time.
Especially for Anaheim, because Anaheim's usually like a 49 to 52.
Yeah.
Which, what is that, 5 extra laps they run? That was like a 25
So
lap
had that
main.
been maybe a normal length Anaheim track, Cole might have been the victory. Might have got the victory. So either way, it was a great race. I
Well,
think for me it was
Had
pretty
he not had the restart, he might have got last. I mean,
true. I mean, the red flag played a factor in it too, because he was 8th or something we talked about before the flag went out. So obviously that's another factor.
I mean,
I
what's
just
an
don't-
interesting thing on the red flag real quick is,
yeah.
do you really think that was necessary? I mean, it seemed a pretty quick red flag they called on that.
Maybe
Because
they saw
Dude,
that he was
no.
that cold.
He was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, like,
Yeah.
before he even hit the ground.
Asterisk calls a red flag purely when they have to pull the cart onto the track. Once they know the cart's coming onto the track, which
Then
it's automatic red flag.
You know what? I think that to your point, Bob, is I don't think they even have any gray area anymore. They're not afraid to call the red flag. If there's a problem, they're going to do it. And it's probably good that they do it sooner than later, right? For the guys racing, right? Because they don't get the extra laps in them and then like, oh, man, we got to go restart again. Also for the down rider. But, he was in the track, in the preferred line pretty much, right? Because
Yeah.
he was half in the berm and half off the track kind of. So I think they made a good call. I think the good thing is they don't question it. They don't put the flaggers at risk probably, because the outside line was the preferred line right there. And I thought they made a good move. We as fans don't like to see red flag because it kind of resets the whole
Right.
board. But
Yeah.
But I also like if you're going to fault on the side of safety, I'm okay with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
But had it been, one more lap and they would have had to do that staggered deal that gets really awkward?
Wow.
Yeah,
Was
that would have been like
Yeah, how does that work?
old school Mickey Thompson.
So the red flag typically is within the first 5 laps, where they restarted off the gate. Staggered start is once the amount of
Once
time.
they're 5 laps in.
Once that's like after 5 laps, then they go for a staggered start. But it's
So
early
this
on in
is
the race. They just restart the race.
2 laps into the 2016 season, and Dungey just takes his heaviest competitor straight out of the game.
Yeah.
Wait, Dungey took him
So
out.
you're saying that he
That's
took
what
him
he's
out?
saying.
Took
You
him
think it's
out.
somebody went
Ridiculous.
headhunting?
That's ridiculous.
Did you
I'm
guys?
saying.
Did you not watch? Did you not
Alvin
watch
Baker
the
is
DVR?
doing work with him. He's a ferocious animal like
No.
he's
Come
never
on.
been before.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I
right.
think that Dungey took the inside line coming out of the whoop. It was when they were coming out of the whoops, from what I remember.
Rhythm
right?
section.
It was a rhythm section. Okay, so then he hits the outside line. He goes to cut in deep, and then
Wheels in the air, can't
Goes,
stop in midair.
he's going for
Dungey
the pass. He's going for the lead.
No, he wasn't going for the pass.
no.
He wasn't even trying to pass. He was just
Stewie.
blocking someone from passing him by closing the door. In my own opinion, he did hit the rear wheel. The rear wheel was up, so he couldn't climb. He couldn't climb all over the front brake, right? Because he was going to maybe crash. So he couldn't get the brakes as quick as he wanted. And in my opinion, it was just a racing deal. But however, James has a lot of experience. He should have known that early in the race, everyone's packed up tight. You can't make those moves that he's really good at making, coming from the outside and just swooping down to the inside like that. I mean, you can do that stuff when the field leans out, I think. But in the beginning of the race like that, it's a really, really tough call to be able to try and make that move. We've seen that many times before with other guys, and that's just a racing deal.
Do you think James hasn't raced in a year? That little green there.
But does something like that?
Even though he's been around racing forever, but he's been off for a year, first Supercross back.
Yeah, but how could he forget? It's like rule number 1: riders stay in your line.
Well, we're talking about James Stewart.
What rules don't
Hey,
apply?
wait! It's James's line. So,
It's James's track.
yeah.
can't
James
pass
was
people.
ahead, so you have to give him that. He was ahead. However, it's just. I mean, he probably. Who was it? Anderson just went on his inside, so he had passed him in the rhythm, right? And so he went up high and just thinking he's going to go low, and then Dungey was there. I've had that happen to me many times before. Me and Lusk have done that. All of us have done that, and it's a bad deal. And the way James went down was pretty hard, unfortunately, for a connection like that between the two guys. You'd like to see him bump or whatever and take off again, but it's a bummer.
I think actually, I see it as Dungey rolled the dice big time, being extra aggressive, not wanting to give an inch, seeing that those two guys can just go. And he took a bit of a risk, and it caught him. He got that tail kick, and he got himself into a situation that he couldn't control the bike, and he went right into his competitor.
You guys remember last year when Reed and Kennard got into it? And Reed kind of screwed that corner up a little bit, and then he went, I better block the line, and then Kennard was already in the air.
Committed.
So I think maybe we didn't see on video, because the way they picked it up on video, we didn't see where Dungey was coming down that rhythm. Because, some guys would do 3, 2, 3, whatever it was.
Right.
And did he make a mistake? And was he going like, oh, man, I'm going to get past, so I better jump inside to make sure no one goes inside of me? That could have happened. We don't know.
Have you guys watched? Has anyone watched the TV?
I've watched it over and over,
You
a bunch
have?
of times, yeah.
I mean, from what the video showed, the way I took it is he was just on, like you said, went up high to cut in. What is it? I don't know what the proper lingo is, but cut in
Outside
shorter.
in, yeah.
Outside.
Here's the video.
And then Dungey Dungey's on the inside line, and he goes to hit the outside of the berm, and
Well,
it's like there's Stewart.
The thing you can see is when Dungey realizes that Stewart's coming down, he's climbing all over the brakes. Like, whoa,
yeah,
I
like
gotta
here we
stop.
go. Yeah,
Whoa,
see,
whoa, whoa.
yeah.
There's
boom.
nobody he's protecting the line from. He's all by himself out there. He was diving in for an advantage.
No way.
Yep. He thought
I love
Bubba would.
McGranahan.
He thought
Here's
Bubba
the
would have
deal.
to back down, and he thought he could close the door on him.
There's
also.
no way he
Listen,
thought he was going
Zero.
to make that
Yeah.
pass. There's
No.
no way he could have
Listen.
thought he was. No way.
Here's the thing.
No way.
Remember
Okay.
last week's nickname?
Get Dungey on the
For a
call.
reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason why you have
Let's
0
call him.
championships.
Well, Racer X is saying that
Nice opinion, though.
James is day to day for San Diego, so he's still being evaluated, and the team's going to issue an update.
I
later.
think when I read that, I was like, okay, they're just going to wait till Friday and tell us that he's not racing.
Well, weren't you the one, Jeremy, that was saying that you feel that you have seen James, his career end? Like it, or
I
was
think
that
Grant was, Grant, remember last week was full of a lot of opinions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was. He
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
he
he
was
had-
He was
happy.
full of a
He had
lot
some
of
serious
opinions.
opinions about
And
that
he-
Kennard Reed incident also that we just brought up.
Yep, and I think he was the one that said, like, look, we've seen the end of Stewart.
I feel like Grant
So.
said that, and maybe
I don't think so.
can he pull it back? Can he?
It's going to be hard after this one. But I think anything's possible. We know, and it's James Stewart. You can never count him out. However,
2 races
At-
in the Monster Cup, couple laps each.
as we talked about last night, each crash, each injury, it becomes easier to quit. So
Right.
we've seen him quit a little too much lately, so you never know.
Well, a lot more to talk about James Stewart and Kennard, Dungey, all those guys, and so many more stories. The punches are flying here. The Action Sports Show, powered by Toyota Escondido. We'll be right back.
One name you should know, the best place you can go, Toyota of Escondido.
You already know that Toyota of Escondido has a huge selection of new and used Toyotas, right? But I bet they have a few more things you didn't even know, like a certified collision center. If you're ever in an accident, get your Toyota fixed with the proper parts it was meant to have at Escondido's only Toyota certified collision center.
Toyota of Escondido. Toyota of Escondido.
Looking to save money? Toyota of Escondido has a full refinance department. Keep your current car no matter the make or model and let Toyota of Escondido's refinance team help lower your monthly payment or current interest rate. Visit ToyotaEscondido.com and click the refinance tab.
Toyota of Escondido.
ToyotaEscondido.com. Shop for your new Toyota and much, much more.
The boys are back with 2 huge events coming to the Southland. Monster Energy Supercross, brought to you by Mission Motorsports Irvine, January 9th. It all starts with the season opener. Then follow the action one more time when the best riders take over Anaheim January 23rd, all at Angels Stadium. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster and participating Yamaha dealers. Aussies $5 more to have show prices subject to market demand. Additional fees apply. January 9th and January 23rd only at Angels Stadium.
What's up? This is Robbie Madison. You're listening to the Action Sports Show, where all things action sports goes on. Tell your mama I said hello and keep it wide open.
You're on, guys.
Conspiracy theory.
All right, welcome back to the Action Sports Show, powered by Toyota of Escondido. This is the one-stop shop, anything and everything in the world of action sports. But for last week, this week, the next few weeks, it's the West Coast Swing. It is Supercross 2016, and we've assembled the super panel here. Once again, I'm Jim Holtis, Lorette Nickel, Bob Walker, Diana Dahlgren, Jeremy McGrath, and Dan McGranahan, who told me something very cool the other day. One of the best compliments he's ever had was out on a ride with Jeremy McGrath in Baja, having Jeremy come up and go, dude, you got some skills, man. You're riding killer.
It happened. I don't know if he remembers it, but believe me, I remember it.
Hey, you know what? To
does
be
ride
honest
good.
with you,
We
it
have a
was,
blast down there, and he does ride really good.
he complimented me too. It's a guy had a bikini on.
Hey,
So did Dan, but that's the weird thing. I don't know.
So that makes me like any other guy, or what?
No, oh yeah, all the people on Instagram. No, I was riding the dirt bike. That's what I mean. I was just.
So,
never
folks,
mind. Never
we were
mind.
talking about the Dungey-James Stewart collaboration. The argument went on into the breaks as he would settle. Dan still thinks he's going for the pass, but so much more stuff going on there, too. I really like what I saw out of Christian Craig early on in the heat races, and kind of didn't work out as much in the main event. Had some problems.
Okay, let's talk about that because, you saw some speed, and certainly you saw his silky BMX style out there, which it was a lot of fun to watch. but you saw him make some mistakes as far as him knowing the rules, and that was a bummer to see. And he allowed 2 passes to come through because he misread the warning lights. That
in the same exact section.
In the same exact section, 2 laps in a row. The last 2 laps that cost him winning the heat, to second in the heat, to third in the heat.
So
I believe that frazzled him.
That was in the rhythm section.
Yeah.
Yes, same corner.
Yeah, basically same corner. That same straightaway.
The same straightaway
because
there was someone down on the right, and he started rolling when it was only yellow, and is what you're talking about, right?
That's right. And
so I thought there was something wrong with the bike, but it happened in the exact same spot at the same yellow flag.
So you saw Emig posted this week on the yellow flag.
Yep. And
thing.
Cooper.
And Cooper, yeah. Okay, so the rule is that when it's yellow, you can proceed with caution. That means jumping and everything like that.
When it's yellow, let it mellow.
Where you said Craig started rolling the jumps and got past, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that might have frazzled him. But, I mean, in the main event, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was
fast in the beginning, and then he crashed. I mean, he crashed like 4 times, including off the dragon back, which they showed in slow-mo on the broadcast.
Don't forget, guys, that this is a rider that actually retired from motocross altogether. A year and a half ago, he moved home to Michigan, got married, had a family. Then all of a sudden, he's just fooling around back to having fun in his home state. And then Honda picks the guy back up and says,
well, he's married into the family. So
yeah, he's married into the family, but at the same time, it's like, he was pretty much hung up. He was done.
Came out back in outdoor and did a great job in several races out there. So.
I
mean, the talent's always been there. I mean, MC, once you have that level of talent, it's, I don't want to call it easy, but it's
there.
It's
like
there.
You said, it's there.
All you got to do is train.
And he has the it factor, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he can ride. We all know that. And some of the things we talked about last week, Bob, were decision making, and how important that is when you're in a race. And he might be struggling a little bit with nerves because it's his first Supercross in a while.
Yep.
But as Jim pointed out, he killed it in the outdoor series. He rode great, and I mean, it's a lot different when you come out as a hobby and you're just kind of filling in and all this. And now he's actual team rider, and
there's
you
expectations,
gotta produce, and exactly so things, and that's where he came up short before, right? So, maybe he's just a better. It's hard to tell after one race, but he got frazzled. He got frazzled for sure.
It's too much to really make the judgment at this point. Mm-hmm. Yes, he got frazzled, but it was A1. It was his first Supercross back. He also showed some incredible speed at times. So I think there's a good chance that you'll see the maturity kick in the response. But that's what's going to tell the tale is the response.
But
not that this happened necessarily, because it's not that unusual for something like this to happen under those.
He has the talent to be on the podium every week. The talent's
there. And the pool of riders
and the equipment.
He has the equipment and the pool of riders versus his speed right now. He's in a really good situation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were last week. You were way too excited and already trying to call a winner of the championship, and now you're saying it's too early.
It's too early to write him off, is what I was saying.
It's not really too early to call the winner because we know that's already started.
What? That media is calling it, or the
in the lights class?
Yeah. Oh, you think it's done already?
Well, no. I mean, nothing's ever done. There's some factors that could play into it, obviously, but if the kid stays healthy, then you know that everyone's racing for second, really. So,
and in that case, Cooper did deliver just as we.
In which Jesse, by the way, rode a great race.
Yes,
amazing race.
I mean, a great race, and I think a lot of us here last week called him second.
Yeah.
Right. So he rode a great race.
I was sitting with his manager during the race, and his manager was a nervous wreck.
Oh, really?
Oh, my gosh. And I've had to sit with him during many of his riders' races and watch him like it's just like listening to chalk on a wall or something like that. But
Who's his manager?
Our boy Bob Walker right here is his manager.
Racer X posted something about him an hour ago and saying that he was in the hospital because he had a crash. But
that's right. So he could use our prayers. I think he's going to be okay. But he had a practice crash today. And so
they said they'll know more tomorrow, but nothing major threatening from what I understand, hopefully.
Yeah, we think we dodged a bullet. We think we dodged a bullet, but they're keeping him overnight for observation. It was a high-speed get-off, and TLD put a post out there, so this isn't anything that's not on the public, up for public, consumption. But TLD put a post out about an hour and a half ago that he had a high-speed crash at practice. It was in the whoops. And, they everything's checked out fine. There are no broken bones or anything like that, but they just want to keep him for observation because it was a big impact that he took.
So he's had an MRI and a CT scan, right?
Yes. Yes, everything's come back negative.
Good.
He's a tough kid. He's going fast, but so is his competition. And I believe that he is in a position and a stage where settling for second is not acceptable in his eyes. And so you're going to see him pushing himself. And I think that Cooper's setting a very high bar. And so you're going to see everybody
which is going to make all those guys better anyway.
Push themselves.
It's going to help them.
Yeah. Cooper's on another level this year, man.
Yeah.
You could see Cooper's mental toughness. He was just like, he has that look like, I own you. When he shows up to the line, I remember the days back when MC was in his prime, you just knew. It's like you felt it. You believed it. You felt it. It was all there.
You see the guy
and he rides like it now.
Chipping away every single lap, and you know it's coming. You're like, there's enough laps.
You know what? We saw that kick in like last year about halfway.
Yep.
And you could see that big momentum shift and that it's a giant wheel, right? But it takes a while to get it going. But once it's going, he's like, all right, yeah, this is going, and I'm going to do this.
It showed me the guts actually at San Diego last year when he had that bad crash, gets back up on the bike, does the same thing, chips away, and comes back with the big win, all banged up.
You know what? It's a bummer that Jesse, hopefully he's going to be all right. Hopefully he'll be riding this weekend. But, if he's not, then we can go ahead and talk about Cooper Webb some more and how that it just got a bit easier with Jesse not there. So
definitely his main comp was clearly at this point.
Well, you know what? I beg to differ on that. I think Savacci got kind of he got taken out by Craig. Wasn't it Craig or was it it was one of the Geico guys?
It might have been Dakotas.
Yeah,
they
maybe
got tangled
it was.
up. And Dakotas was the one that surprised me getting a fourth.
Yeah, Dakotas. I mean, it's bummer for Savacci. There's a couple guys on here. I'm surprised Zach Bell got so low down on the totem pole. I can't remember anything happening during the race, but bummer for him to get all the way down to 15th. And
I think the 8th for Savacci wasn't really what he's capable of. I think he was riding fast. He was doing really well, and just kind of some circumstances happened, but I think we'll see him up there.
He qualified 5th. He got 6th off the start.
I expected Savacci to be running up there with Jesse and Cooper. I figured coming in to the weekend, I was like, okay, Savacci, Cooper, Jesse, depends on who gets the start, how they come out. And that was one that surprised me with Savacci getting an 8th.
Osborne out there qualifying 2nd and coming in 3rd. Not bad.
Yep.
What's interesting about Savacci and more so about his team is that this is the guy on the Mitch Payton Pro Circuit Kawasaki Monster Energy Super Team in 8th place. Like this team is supposed to dominate this field and did for what felt like a decade, and has been largely absent from the podium for what now feels like going on 3-4 years.
Well, what is it?
What's going on?
I was actually going to ask everyone here on this
Parity.
panel is what do you think, or what are your thoughts? Sorry, as Lorette likes to call it, on the Monster Energy Pro Circuit team. You have this Mitch with this multi-championship. I mean, you see all the ones all over, plastered all over his semi every single weekend, and he's supposed to be dominating, and he takes Bowers out because Webb's on this series and puts him on East Coast. So now what? Is Cian Cirillo back in the mix? So now that he has Cian Cirillo, Bowers on East Coast, it's like, I mean, was it a move to play it smart for him and winning a championship?
I mean, there's definitely an easier championship to be had on the East than there is on the West. They're all running. If they're chasing a championship, they're running from Webb.
Right.
So,
I think Cooper would say that. They're probably like, "Hey, they're running from me," right? So that's probably what he would say. But look, all these teams are. It's a show game, right? They pick riders and they hope they really do well, and there's some that they can count on, and some there's kind of a little bit of a roll of the dice. And I think Mitch set the bar really high, right? Pro Circuit Kawasaki team was the team for the longest time, and then now you have Troy Lee's team, and you have the Geico Honda team, and I think, frankly, all the teams got tired of getting their butt whipped, and so now.
So they stopped buying their motors from Mitch?
Well, I think that's for sure. But then also I guess, Mitch's team used to be first choice, right? Now there's many other choices. So I think all the other teams have gotten a lot better.
There's
As
even
you said, parity.
There's even riders shunning Mitch with offers. Guys saying, hey, I would rather go here or here versus over there.
And as an agent, you know this. Mitch has a very certain way he is interested in paying people, and it's very bonus oriented. And so there's an opportunity to get a good rider by saying, well, I'm just going to pay you much more than he's going to pay you.
I think that's changed.
That comes into play?
I think that's changed the last couple of years. Mitch they're all very competitively. They're all that playing field's level, I think, on the money side, and it just becomes who's your A guy, who's your B, who's your C, who's your D, and the riders are just making choices on the training program, the support program.
Frankly,
what they think the bike's doing.
Yeah, frankly, some of them pick the brand.
Yeah.
And, that's how it works.
And I think some of them also still pick the springboard to the 450 team. And Pro Circuit was supposed to be a springboard into Cowie, but now you've got Tomac springboarding
there is
from
no
Honda.
Springboard anymore.
Right.
I don't think so either.
There is no springboard, in my opinion, going to the 450.
I mean,
the only springboard is the amateurs into the lights program. That's where that card's being played by the team owners is they're going down deep into the amateur ranks, grabbing kids on 85s and locking them up for 5 and 6 years,
and
all the way up into their pro contract.
Mitch has tried that, but it doesn't seem to have panned out of late.
It's been Team Green, not Mitch.
Okay. Team Green is
big difference. You would think Mitch is Team Green, but because they're Kawasaki,
Sure.
but that's a Kawasaki
deal,
Ryan
yeah.
Holiday decision over there, and they're trying to get better integration with Mitch, and that's happening this year. You've seen that with some new signings at the amateur levels, and they're getting better, and that's because of what the other guys have been doing. Look at the success that Bobby Reagan's had by signing Cooper and Martin at the amateur level. That's how they got them. If he wouldn't have got them then, Mitch probably would have grabbed them or Factory Connection would have got them. But Yamaha was smart and went down and wrapped up Cooper and Martin into pro deals.
Right.
Started to develop them young. So they were into the system, and now everyone's moving to do that.
I think it's so strange to do that. I mean, you spend a lot of money, and you're gambling hard on a kid that's, 10, 12? I mean, and it's so hard. I mean, so hard to tell. I'm perfect example of you never know what you're going to get until you're older. I mean, you're going to have the Ricky Carmichaels, and you're going to have the Cincerellos, and you're going to have a few of the standout kids. But it's not out of the realm thinking that Ryan Dungey really didn't develop until he was a little older, but they did go grab him a little bit young, but it is, they go fishing pretty far at underage now. And it's really weird that the talent pool they get from the kids and try and get them into a 5-year deal. I mean, no one knows really what's going to happen in 5 years. So
that's like college football teams going and recruiting kids in Pop Warner.
Yeah,
it is happening.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You have no idea what this kid's going to look like.
Kids getting scholarships.
Yeah, it's nuts.
What would you guys actually recommend to do?
I don't know. That's the question. I was just going to say, I don't know what else you would do. I think there's a lot of peer pressure. Say you're Mitch and I'm someone else and you're Geico, and it's like, okay, we got to go fight for the same kids down in the amateur level. It's like, just seems a little bit weird. I don't know.
I
don't know what you would do otherwise.
Look at these families and the money they're spending to chase the dream.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous, the money being spent to support your kids. And as a parent, you'll do anything you can to support your child. And now all of a sudden you have each of the OEMs with their pro teams showing up at Loretta's, showing up at the Ricky Carmichael Classic, and they're rolling out a factory bike. And here it goes to this kid's pit. And a factory bike goes over that kid's pit. Now you're already defeated when you get to the line.
Yeah.
And you can't compete against that equipment. I mean,
no matter how much money you throw out.
Do you think there should be rules against that?
Part of me thinks there should be.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like,
so who's going to be the governing body?
But
nobody's going to win.
The funny thing about that,
situation.
though, there is nothing illegal about the bike. It's just a
it's just
bike.
money.
It's just a bitch and bike, right?
Yeah, I mean, 8-kit suspension with the dyno work on the, the technology
I know
goes
exactly
in those motors.
what it is, and you're right. And the kid that rides that bike, he's like, oh, I'm superhuman all of a sudden, So
Back to that confidence
your confidence level just goes to the moon, which makes you entirely, that kid that's pretty awesome is going to be really awesome. So it is. It's hard to compete with that, but I don't know how you fix that. I mean,
it's every form of motorsport. I mean, look at car racing, look at the truck racing, look at the mod carts where we're at the Lucas races.
Yeah.
These kids, the money being thrown around.
Let's talk about
it's amazing. Yes.
Let's talk about that Ryder DeFrancisco kid. Incredible rider, right?
Yeah. Well,
What's his agency? His agency's a NASCAR agency working with him.
Yep.
You know,
he knows.
How old is he?
It was Kevin Harvick's deal or something.
Yeah, it's the Bakersfield connection. They're all Baco boys.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm just saying, like, to see that sort of attention. Now, he's an incredibly talented young rider. I mean, incredibly talented. And there are a couple of them.
There's
Let's
some
talk
amazing
about Deegan's
kids. Yeah, there's some amazing kids.
You got Danger Boy, you got Ryder, you got Jet Reynolds.
Yeah, those
got
those
Nick
kids
Romano.
blow me away.
Romano.
Yeah, Nick
I
Romano.
mean, these kids we're going to be talking about these kids in 5 years going into A1.
Now, these are really talented kids, but what do you do with them? Like, is it okay to go out and identify them? Because it's clear they've identified themselves on the track, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I think with or without the teams doing that, they're going to shine. I mean, the cream rises to the top. These kids are the next kids that are going to be, in the position to win races, win championships, get the factory rides, do all that. I mean, you're going to have one or two guys that we never heard of come up between now and then, but most of them we know now because of the sponsors and what they're doing. So, I don't know how you could ever change it. You just got to keep up with the times, I guess.
And with social media now, and you just look at the posts of what these kids are posting and what they're doing. I mean, it's right there. I mean,
what's
Jeremy? You
can
sit there and look at some of these kids and go, "He's got it."
Yeah. Oh,
You watch Danger Boy make a few jumps and a few corners, you're like, "Dude, that kid's got it."
Guys,
yeah.
The Rockwell Jeremy McGrath #2 signature series says it's time to go to break. So we're going to do that right now. Take a break. Folks, more of the Action Sports Show, Supercross Super Panel when we come back. Just a moment.
What can you do? One name you should know, the best place you can go, Toyota of Escondido.
You already know that Toyota of Escondido has a huge selection of new and used Toyotas, right? But I bet they have a few more things you didn't even know, like a certified collision center. If you're ever in an accident, get your Toyota fixed with the proper parts it was meant to have at Escondido's only Toyota certified collision center.
Toyota of Escondido. Toyota of Escondido.
Looking to save money? Toyota of Escondido has a full refinance department. Keep your current car no matter the make or model and let Toyota of Escondido's refinance team help lower your monthly payment or current interest rate. Visit ToyotaEscondido.com and click the refinance tab. ToyotaEscondido.com. Shop for your new Toyota and much, much more.
The boys are back with two huge events coming to the Southland. Monster Energy Supercross, brought to you by Mission Motorsports Irvine, January 9th. It all starts with the season opener. Then follow the action one more time when the best riders take over Anaheim January 23rd, all at Angels Stadium. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster and participating Yamaha dealers. All fees $5 more day of show prices subject to market demand. Additional fees apply. January 9th and January 23rd only at Angels Stadium.
What's up? This is Robbie Madison. You're listening to the Action Sports Show, where all things action sports goes on. Tell your mama I said hello and keep it wide open.
You're on, guys.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Action Sports Show, Supercross Super Panel Edition. It's West Coast Swing 2016 Supercross. I'm Jim Holtis, Lorette Nickel, Bob Walker, Diana Dahlgren, Jeremy McGrath, and Mr. Dan McGranhan. And hey, if you're on the website, make sure you follow all the social media at TE Action Sports. That's at TE Action Sports. And also don't forget to go to iTunes, put in the Action Sports Show, and subscribe to our podcast so you can get it downloaded directly into your ear each and every week. And now, Dan, why don't we tell them about, we just started our own fantasy Supercross group.
Oh, that's right. We did.
This last week. And this is a way we can all keep track of not only the panel, but our fans can go there and race with us. I don't know what the grand prize is, but I don't know. Shoot. Anyway,
Money.
you can-
Money. Let's use it for the gamble.
Where's those picks at? Let's look
We
at that
tried
again.
to start a fantasy
Diana
league.
Dahlgren is putting up huge cash for the winner.
So here's what we did. We started it with the Rocky Mountain Fantasy Supercross, and you can go to their website and sign on, Rocky Mountain Fantasy Supercross. And we started a group called the Action Sports Show, and it's totally open for anybody that wants to come in and compete with all our picks. And it's pretty fun each week. So
you
we
pick
want
the
to see you
top
guys
five,
in there.
and then
Pick
you
the top 5.
Ninth, which is like a dark horse that could come give you points later on, which my pick for that 9th spot was Chad Reed, and he well exceeded what I called out there.
He was
He got
flying.
7th.
No, but Chad Reed,
Sixth.
you got to admit,
What do you get?
Chad Reed
Fifth.
was going fast.
5th or
Chad
6th?
Reed got 6th.
5th was Roxon. Yeah.
It was Chad
4th
Reed.
Tomac. Yeah.
I think
Sixth.
Chad Reed looked really good, honestly.
I think he looked really good, and I think that for some reason, going back to Yamaha gave him a little bit of a boost, confidence. But I don't think that Reed is really training like how he was, like, I would say 3 years ago when he got, I think, like 3 wins in 1 year or whatever. This is his last really, really good year. I mean, Reed can always pull off a win, like we said last week. As far as winning the championship, probably not. Probably not top 3 in the championship.
I was talking to Reed while we were down there for the
Sorry.
when I was down there for the opening ceremonies. And I agree. Chad rode great. I thought he rode great. And that heat race, did you guys watch the heat race where he made that pass on 2 guys at once into the second set of whoops?
Yes.
Aggressive.
That was pretty awesome.
That was cool.
So that was good to see from Chad. I think 6 is a pretty good ride for him. He kind of fell off a little bit at the end too. I think a lot of the riders did because it was such a long race. But I think I don't know.
Hey,
regardless of what you say with his training, I think he rode
know
great.
what?
No, I think he.
Chad
I think he
looked like he
great.
was in shape. I mean, he did.
That's what I thought.
I was expecting him to come in looking a little
Slower
thicker,
on the first round.
and I'm like, Chad looks like he's in shape. He's ahead of schedule for an A1, in my opinion.
Because he races into shape, right?
He does, and now he's going to his favorite stadium or favorite city.
Yeah, 5 wins at San Diego, I think. So
If you guys were going to pick him to win around this year,
This
would
would
it
be the one.
San Diego?
Well, one of
I'd go
them.
San Diego round 2. I like
Okay.
Chad in February in San Diego. I don't know about January, but
yeah,
Okay.
he could.
That's true.
I'd put him in the top 5 though.
I think 6 is something he can work with. He probably feels like, all right, cool. I'm gonna have if he has a good week riding and stuff, and he gets a good start. I mean, we all know Chad. He's one of the toughest guys out there, especially mentally. So.
Now, does it make it any difference that it's at Petco and not Qualcomm where all of his wins were at?
Potentially it could. I think he gets it's really about the vibe, right?
Is it the town, the vibe?
Yeah, I think
the dirt's the same.
The dirt's dirty.
the type of track though is a little bit different because it's a baseball stadium versus the football stadium.
So the shape.
Smaller and tighter.
Yeah, Qualcomm was always a big stadium, lots of lanes, kind of a rectangular shape. So it's obviously the dirt he really likes, and so that'll be the same. But it is a little. If you remember last year's Petco track, there was some tight sections, and I think he really liked the Qualcomm setup. But again, I think it's a vibe. If he gets a good start, we could see another great race out of him.
Dug the venue though. Thought it was great. I mean,
awesome, love
new
it.
ballpark. It was awesome.
Well, yeah. Not only that, but now this year we're going to San Diego and Petco 2 times, which I think was an awesome move because too many A's. There was 3 A's. 3 Anaheim rounds. It was just too many.
Well, I think also the San Diego crowd is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they get rowdy. They love Supercross. And this
Yeah.
is a great month of San Diego motorsports. We got Monster Truck, we got Supercross, and we got Supercross twice. So
Sounds like we got football for a little longer too.
I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, neither do I. Isn't
I haven't
this the
heard
Action
anything.
Sports
Football.
Show?
What's that?
What's that? Action Sports
They're
Show.
staying.
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe
You
the
heard
word-
it here first on
I
the
believe
Action
the-
Show.
I believe the word is that
Here's-
the Rams are going to L.A. and the Raiders and Chargers are being paid to figure it out in the next
Yep.
year.
And for
Here's
all
how
those
this-
people that asked Bob Walker, I was right months ago. I told you the Rams were
That they were-
going and the Chargers were staying.
Good for you.
Which
Just-
you can.
Well,
and
guess
Come
what?
right here for your info.
Guess what? The Rams get to play at the Coliseum. How fun.
Right.
Where they belong.
Here's the thing that's gonna. Here's the thing. Here's what's gonna affect us in the action sports world, and it's
Here's the deal.
Supercross. These guys aren't going to be running their Chargers jerseys and helmets because right now the audience isn't going to support it. Whereas normally you'd go into San Diego and someone's going to go, oh, dude, make me a Chargers helmet. Make me a Chargers jersey.
Still the best looking helmet in the game, so they may.
You won't see that. I'm claiming it right now. You're not going to see that.
Well, you won't see a
I do not
Padres
concur.
helmet.
They're going to be
all right,
repping Padres.
All right.
No,
So
Padres.
let's not get ahead of ourselves
All right, now
here.
how
We
do we
got
get off
San
on this
Diego going,
tangent?
but we're talking about, let's get to this Supercross class at A1.
Let's get back to the Supercross class at A1.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim.
Oh, I thought you were talking to them.
You.
They're all looking at you.
Let's work on the heat races. What do you think? Heat races?
Actually, I don't recall the heat races. The night went by so fast. I just remember the main event.
You remember Roxon crashing in the first corner?
Yeah, I
Getting
do.
taken out by Barsha, basically, because Barsha just spazzed out and couldn't stop his bike.
About 10 feet off the starting line.
Didn't they lock
Did I
bars?
say that?
Didn't they lock bars?
Let's back it up even before that, and let's talk about
Barsha-
Jason Anderson launching into the audience.
What?
Yeah, that was
When
sick.
was that?
Yeah. In practice.
Oh my God! Into the audience. Where and how?
He total whiskeyed it.
So you know where the start line was,
Plaza.
Yeah.
and you know the rhythm section going down towards the berm, and then they turned and came back the rhythm section. At the end of that rhythm section, he went sideways and landed in the corner with 1 foot off, and he was off the back, and he went off that berm into the staging where the other riders were. Yeah, it was crazy. You guys didn't see that?
Yeah, it was straight out of like
you saw it. Yeah.
I saw
straight
that.
out of
gnarly.
I saw
Seth
that. I
and
saw someone
Krusty
post
movie.
a video of it, and I was like, "Oh my God, I had no clue."
Yeah, that was
and,
crazy.
And I was like, "That's Jason. Jason's a beast.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that kid doesn't get
He's
hurt.
wild, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. But you know, that was one. I thought one of the differences for him coming through the pack in the final was how he was doing that rhythm section, because he was tripling through there. And that one, that
3-3-1.
Yeah, and no one else was doing that, and it seemed like that was a big time difference maker as he was coming through.
Which is the opposite line of the one he crashed on in practice.
Correct.
So he was trying to mix it up probably so it didn't happen again. Maybe.
It's a good method.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. And back to the start of the other heat race with Barsha kind of closing down a little bit on Roxon. It looked like he had just a little bit on him maybe, and he was trying to get in there and hit Roxon's front brake a little bit, and then started a big like domino effect.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was the start of Roxon's pretty much, bad night. He didn't really have that great of a night until the final.
Yeah, in the final,
the
at the
results
end
on
of the
paper
final.
worked out. The results worked out, but he was down
He had
in
to
the
earn
main.
it, and
He was
he had to come back, and he was fast.
He was last in out of the turn 2 in the main.
Yep.
He pulled it out in the end and actually made me have to go, okay, I got to reconcile this guy's going to fight for it this year. He's not just going to give it away, because the majority of the race leading up to the very end, I was kind of like, wow, Roxon is not here to be a factor right now. And that's a little harsh, and there was a lot of reasons why that happened, and some might have been out of his control. But when you're a fan, you're just watching it, and he's either up there or he's not.
So there was 3 guys in the final that had great results, and those 3 guys were down, right? Kennard took out Dungey. Dungey finished second.
Yeah. What would Dungey have done had him and Trey not got together that early?
Right?
Yep.
I know. He might have caught Cole before Anderson caught him.
Yep.
You never know. But then you had Kennard, who crashed also, finished 7th.
He actually just stalled it in the corner, I think. It wasn't a
Did he?
crash.
Well, I wanted to hit on him, too, because he had such a great heat race and started good and looking fast and was catching up to the lead and then started going backwards.
Well, he was blazing through the pack. He was the guy that just flipped a switch and said, I'm going to go through the pack, and he looked like he was on a one-way trip to the front of the pack. And then he just happened to have Jason Anderson behind him, who was on an even faster one-way trip to the front of the pack. And then somewhere along the line, Kennard, something went wrong.
Did he gas or?
He might have stiffened up. I doubt that he gassed, but he might have stiffened up. But something went wrong along the way, and he lost that momentum. And I don't know if it was the fact that he was giving it all and Jason was running him down. Sometimes mentally that's a tough thing to deal with.
When you think you're the fastest guy going through and a guy blazes by you, you're like,
wow.
What was your guys' opinion on Eli Tomac?
He's still not the Eli Tomac that he's going to be at the end of that season, and if I just don't think that's full speed Eli. I think that's
I don't either. I thought he rode really good in the beginning of the race. In the middle, he kind of like dropped off. Got passed by Reed, got passed by Kennard, Dungey, Anderson. Got passed by 4 guys. But then at the end, he was right back close again. So, like, the middle laps, something happened where he just maybe brain faded a little, or was just maybe he was just too tight, and he just slowed down to gather it back up, which, knowing what we know, he did the right thing, right? You can build with the fourth. He rode great, I thought.
You can't win a championship at A1, but you can sure lose one.
Sure.
Right.
Which we've seen.
A lot.
Yeah.
When you sorry, Bob.
Oh, I was just gonna say, just real quick on Tomac, I agree with MC. I was like, I thought he'd start making a move early because he had a good start.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, here we go. Tomac's going to go. Kennard's going to get with him. And Trey got around him, and all of a sudden it's like it shocked him, like, whoa. And that's when he kind of dropped anchor for 5 or 6 laps. And I was like, what is wrong with Tomac? I'm like, come on, Eli. Like, I was waiting for that move, and he never made that move till he was so far back.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't realize it. And I was like, I wonder if he's not completely comfortable with that bike, changing colors after so many years, but he's obviously had, 3 months on it? That
I know being in the truck all day that they were making some suspension adjustments and things like that. You know when you have a new bike, things brand new, sometimes they just don't feel as cool as your practice bike because your practice bike has a lot of laps on it and stuff like that. So they were making some changes to that. And, he had a lot riding on that race, right? I mean, maybe I can't say maybe it was the bike but there was a lot of factors. We talked about it last week. I mean, he changed teams. He's the A rider on the team. He had an injury. He's got to prove himself to come back from that. New bike, all these
Everyone's
factors.
talking about him being a potential winner.
I think to his defense, maybe he really did the right thing no matter what he rode like in the middle of the race. Rather than fight when you're not ready to fight,
right? He
did the right thing by calming himself down, and then he was strong at the end. So I think if he has a good week of practice, we're going to see him, like you said, Dan. I think we're going to see some momentum change out of him. He's going to be good. And
that's an interesting theory.
Fight.
I think
Why would there be fighting with Supercross?
Well, not. I know you guys are cracking here.
What
yeah.
everyone's
I know you're transitioning into your
it's
Weston.
obviously the battle between Millsaps and Brayton is what I'm talking about.
Huh?
Isn't that what everyone's on their mind? No.
No,
Fight.
Was that on within the same
Fight
team?
Pike? Come on.
Oh, did you not
Let's
see
get
the
to
box
it.
of I picked up the fresh box of Beaties with Pike on the front cover
Weston McGregor
this morning. Yeah,
Yeah.
Weston McGregor.
Hey, the social media's been awesome around those two. All week. It's been great.
It's mainstream, man.
Well, ESPN picked it up,
Good or
and
bad?
they put it on their Instagram, and ESPN, they don't have
No motorsports.
No. So for ESPN to actually pick that up, that was a big deal.
I sent his manager a text just out of the blue because, he's a friend of all of ours. And I was like, man, you need to give that guy a bonus for all the publicity that he just brought to your team.
No, for real.
For real.
I mean, negative publicity is publicity at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There
That's
was
not
so
true.
much sympathy
Whatever.
on
Get out
I
of
thought
here.
it was great.
on Weston's side. Like, it feels like most of the industry just sided with Weston, and I don't know, it was a really amazing thing because, okay, so let me ask you guys, what is it about a good old-fashioned bash that people want to see? Like, you see Weston, like, throwing punches into the helmet. He could have actually really hurt himself rather than doing body shots.
My personal thing is from seeing how Freezy was pinballing everyone all night long, and then to have it happen second time, that's probably the guy I wouldn't have done it to. But
I think it has everything to do with the bully finally getting beat up, and everybody celebrates when the bully gets bashed. And he was being the bully all night. And if you were in the stands, you saw it way more than if you saw it on the show because you didn't see all this. They weren't focusing on him all the time,
Right.
of course. But in the stands, you could watch, and he was
You're going,
the
"This guy's
bully.
ridiculous."
I don't think it's necessarily the bully though, like MC was saying. It's just that he has a bad riding style.
I wouldn't call Vince Freeze the bully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't be
Bully,
this little
are you
and
kidding me?
be
Yeah,
the
right?
bully.
You can be on a 450cc dirt bike.
No, I think you know what.
I just think he has a bad riding
poor
style.
Riding etiquette.
Yeah,
It's just no manners.
So
out
the
there.
S turning through the rhythm sections, that's a bad thing?
Oh, that as a rider,
Stop.
as a guy who competed against another guy for a lot of years that did that stuff, it just makes you want to wring their neck.
Was he from Missouri?
Might have been. I don't know.
Look at that green number 3.
Maybe.
I grew up watching that at the amateur level
Yeah,
my whole
well,
life in the Midwest.
you
You
know,
should have seen his brother.
There's certain etiquette out there, and you know, Freeze was certainly way over the line when it came to etiquette. So back to what you said, Lorette, I think the people sided with Pike a little bit on this deal because they know that he's riding like a maniac and not riding how you should. So I think had Freeze been riding normal and then they crashed or whatever, and then he did that, then Pike would have took the worst end of it for sure.
He would have been the villain.
However, just you can tell everyone wanted to pile on Freeze because of what he was riding like. So, you know, Pike lost his head. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when you're a racer, you don't want to be known for that.
Yeah.
You just don't. He's trying to make a living racing a dirt bike. He doesn't want to be known. His whole life now is going to be known as him trying to beat up Freeze on the track. Even if he gets a podium, they're going to go, "Hey, nice podium. How was that fight last week?" You know, that's just how it's going to go. And I think, obviously, he got suspended for a race. He got fined. He's going to want to wipe that away as fast as he can.
Well,
you
know,
he got suspended out of last week's main event too. So that's
DQ.
Pretty
yeah,
much.
you're right.
You know, Coach Gibbs was there. I'd like to have been a fly on the wall when he went back to the hauler with Coach there.
I agree, but someone brought this up, and that's that Coach Gibbs has dealt with some way nasty characters in his day.
Oh, yeah.
So
he thinks probably Supercross guys are a bunch of wimps.
Yeah.
He's like, "Did you see Vontez Perfect?"
Yeah, right.
Here's the other thing to consider. Pike is the people's champ, full on.
Yeah.
Like he is the guy that came from nothing,
Total
that
underdog.
has been underdogging for years, and especially here in Southern California. We know Pike. We love Pike. We respect Pike because he represents our fight.
Pike represents the guy who was going out to Glamis, having fun on his dirt bike, decided to pick up racing as a fun deal,
Right.
ended up being somewhat decent, and then was like, you know what? At 16 years old, I want to be a pro motocross rider.
Which
and he
is
did
almost every kid in Corona and every kid in Elsinore and every kid in Murrieta.
That's why the people love him.
And he's not a kid. He's not a kid that was picked up by a factory team or,
No.
Honda or Cowie when he was an amateur or anything like that. I grew up, I told you guys this last week. If you guys knew the Pike family, you knew that would be – I'm shocked that he hasn't beat someone up before this. I mean, it took a lot for him to actually go ahead and beat – I think it was because the second time getting – coming into contact with Freese, I'm sure he just felt like, okay, is Freese out to get me at this point, so I'm going to beat him up, for his poor etiquette or whatever on the track. But
that's as crazy as a Lake Elsinore girl becoming Miss Supercross.
He's Lake No, we went to Lake. No, you guys. We went to Lake Elsinore High
5
School.
times.
Okay, 5 times.
I went to Paris, by the way.
And he went, yeah. So, you feel me. That's even worse than Lake Elsinore.
Thanks, yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow. Yeah.
Hemet.
Hemet,
Oh, yeah, Hemet is probably the worst. So, it's
my friends call me the Hemet Hillbilly. It's funny.
But, I can't blame you because it's the best riding dirt, out there, when you go out there.
Here's the deal. Pike, for whatever reason, he thought that was the right thing to do at that time. He gets paid to not lose his head like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
No
And he's worked himself. You're right. He's the underdog. He's worked himself into a professional position. B rider on the team, second guy on the team.
But really,
I don't think
is he
Wiener
the more number
Schnitzel
one?
and JGR and all those people want to be known for Pike, beating someone up.
I don't know.
How do you think that affects the team, like Jeremy Albrecht? Like, how does do you think he's
I think Jeremy
embarrassed?
probably laughs
He's
about
used to it.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Albrecht was
talking
sitting next to Emig 20 years ago
I was
in Fresno
in the
Smooth.
he was
Let's
he was
be real.
yeah,
With
he
the
was
wig and glasses on.
Exactly. Hey, now that's a great point, Diana, because he was Emig's mechanic when he was riding around like that. So
Yeah.
I don't think he thinks
So
anything
he was
of it.
probably secretly just fist pumping yeah, that's what needed to
And
happen.
nobody's more gangster than Probably. So
Yeah.
Now, where you said it was surprising that, everyone would have thought that Pike would have been the guy beating people up, but he's not known for that yet, as far as in the sport. This is like a one-time deal so far, right?
Yeah, it's just
so
maybe because
far.
I know him personally.
Wow.
But when is the last time we saw a fight like that on a Supercross
No,
track?
but he certainly punted some people on the track in the
Oh
last
yeah.
few years.
Yeah,
He
don't take
he
no
parked
no
them.
crap. Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is, like you were saying, just to add on to him being, like the what is it called? What the guy, the People's Champ, the guy next door on Supercross, whatever. He is. I don't think he's really a B rider. Barsha may have a better name, a more well-known name, but at this point in Supercross, Pike by far is producing way more results on that team than Barsha is in Supercross.
I bet you by the numbers
100%.
in Supercross he is.
Yeah, 100%. Barsha
only Supercross.
Barsha dropped Anchor this weekend.
Huge. But when it comes outdoors, Barsha 100%. He's an outdoor guy. Supercross, Pike is producing.
Well, I got some insight on Barsha.
Barsha won a Supercross Lights Championship?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't actually, did he?
Barsha?
Barsha didn't, right? Almost really close.
I don't know. He was probably busy taking everyone out. Because he's not very he doesn't
no,
have
he
very
won
good
one.
at etiquette
he won
either.
One. Geico.
That's why they call him Bam Bam for a reason.
That's why he can't
Bam
stay up
Bam
front.
and the
He's
People's
worried
Band
about
go at it.
smashing into people.
Wait, before we totally get off this subject, Jeremy, you made a point, I think, pre-show about the two riders coming down together. What did you say about
my
that?
point to the crash was, let's just take all the riding out of it and the pass itself. I think that
this is the second crash.
The second, this is in the semi. This is the one in the semi, right before they fought.
Okay.
So the first one I'm kind of all right with, right? He just forced him a little wide. Pike had the choice to let off. That was the heat race.
Yep.
He didn't let off. He kind of went out in the hay bales, and okay, that's sort of his own fault. I mean, when you're getting pushed wide, you need to slow down because you're running out of real estate, right? Next up is the hay bales. That's what happened. The semi, Pike had just gotten around him in that first turn area, went into the corner, left the door pretty wide open for making a pass, and you consider who you're racing against.
He should have taken the inside track.
I know who I'm racing against, no matter who it is. If it's a guy that will do that, you take a different line until you get clear of them, and they can't do that. So my point, I guess, is when Freeze went underneath him, I don't think he tried to take him out. It worked out that way. He went under him, they bumped, and then Pike fell on top of Freeze. Had he tried to take him completely out, he would have turned in tighter and took his front wheel out, in my opinion. So when you go in beside someone and then you both fall, that's an accident. I think.
I think it was an
You don't want to
accident.
take yourself out.
Yeah, that he's not trying to crash himself. So had he wanted to take him out, I think he wanted to turn and go under. They hit for sure, but I don't think in Freeze's defense, I don't think he went like, oh, there's Pike. I'm gonna just wreck him and wreck me.
I don't think it was intentional, but he came in overly aggressive. And it looked,
he probably
that front wheel, almost like that front wheel slid some.
He definitely
and it
slid.
came underneath him.
Yeah, and that's what caused the
Too
accident.
aggressive.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was too much on the brakes.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
Coming in too hot. It was like a race out there.
Yeah, and the berm's at the bottom, so he was probably trying to use the bottom of the berm to stay under him. However, it just didn't work out right. And in Pike's position, he's like, this guy's taking me out again. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
So that's what he's like. I'm going to beat him up for it. But had I in my mind, if he would have really tried to take him out, just totally clean him out, he would have just took his front wheel out. And that's not what happened. So, yeah, totally uncalled for sure. But
So if he, really, in reality, Pike maybe needs to have a sit down with someone and say, let's play it smart next time, guy. Get back on your bike, finish your race. Wait till after you pull out of the stadium, and then maybe knock on his car door at a red light, and then drag him out and beat this.
I think a lot of people have that.
And,
In and out
really,
burger,
you wouldn't have gotten fined.
right through the window.
Yeah, you wouldn't have gotten DQ'd.
It's happened, right?
it's happened. Here's my point of view on all of this. And this is why I think Barsha is having a hard time. He's a talented rider, but my point to this whole thing is, in order to win races and do well at this sport, you need a lot of friends. Right. Because you have to, at one time, come in contact with all these guys. You're coming through them, they're passing you, you're passing them. You're going to start out front. You're going to start in the back. You're going to come up. These guys are going to be the guys that you're riding against for could possibly be 10 years, right?
Hopefully, right.
Hopefully. And why would you want to start an argument with each one of these guys that you're going to race with every week? It doesn't make sense. In order to do well, you need friends on the track. Yeah, they're not going to give you all the real estate you want all the time, but you know what? They're going to think about it when they come and pass you or you pass them. If you wreck guys along the way, then next week, Barsha has no friends out there because nobody likes the way he rides coming up through the field either, right? He wrecks everyone, takes their line. Like, he doesn't have any conscience is the way I see it. And that's caused him problems up till now. So it's just not the way you start your career. You want to have friends out there. You want to be like, if you pass me, I want to go, oh, okay, well, cool. I'll just pass you back next week or whatever. I don't want to make you mad or wreck you or whatever. You just want to stay friendly with all these guys because that's the way you're going to do well.
Yeah, and I think last week we were talking about, do riders have a short-term memory when it comes to hits? And you said absolutely not. You can remember where and when and who hit you. And,
exactly.
And, you can still talk about it now.
For years you can remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
But who's mentoring these guys that's teaching them that this is an okay way to be? Because it's not just Barsha that's willing to ride hard and pump people. You got basically all the young, aggressive guys are really aggressive.
I don't know. They hit arena cross before Supercross?
Like, where's the voice for what you're saying is what I'm saying.
Where's the voice? I don't know.
And there's nobody there saying that.
Like you meet the nicest guys in the world, and you put the helmet on, and they go to blackout mode.
Totally.
It's like you have
nicest guy in the world, Trey Kennard.
No one.
Period. Everyone agrees.
And he's a beast when he puts that helmet on.
Yeah, but I don't think Trey's going to go out and
right.
When he took Dungey out, I think the track kind of went away there, and that was like that was something that was
a racing
happen.
incident.
Trey was trying to make him lose real estate, right? Trying to get him to shut off. However, do I think he was trying to knock him over? No, not really. It just lasted a long time, and Dungey couldn't put his foot out, right? Because he just stayed too long. If Trey wanted to hit him, he could have just hit him. There's a few guys out there that just, do a good job of trying to avoid that stuff and just racing the track, racing themselves, not trying to cause a bunch of problems. And those are the guys that you're going to see that are going to do well.
Yeah, for sure. Before we totally get off subject of Pike and Freeze, can I just tell you that I hate the athlete apology letter, and especially when they don't take responsibility for it.
Did he send one out?
Yes.
And it was terrible.
So can I read it?
Sure. Yeah, so I haven't seen it
all
either.
All right. So Pike's apology letter is to my friends, fans, and sponsors. While I have had some time to absorb my actions this past Saturday night, I felt it was important to apologize for the way I handled myself in the heat of battle. I must admit I have been overwhelmed by the support I received, but we know that the racetrack is meant for just that, a place to race our motorcycles. I can't even remember a year where the depth of the racing field has been so strong. I'm looking forward to getting back to round 3 and racing the way I know how and representing my sponsors and fans to the very best of my ability. Here's where I have the biggest problem.
Is that all he wrote?
Yep.
He never actually addressed the issue at all.
See you in Anaheim. Sincerely, Weston Pike. Here it goes. He said, I have some time to think about my actions. I must admit I've been overwhelmed by the support I have received. That's saying I was right. I don't take any responsibility. I'm not coming out with an apology. He's not apologizing.
Really,
there is no
really
I
poorly
am
written.
sorry.
Really poorly written.
Like, who?
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't want to say sorry.
He even
You know
wrote
what?
that.
If he's not sorry, I don't want him lying and saying he's sorry.
You know what it feels like
to
me?
But then why issue a letter?
Because he's talking to the fans.
I've had to write.
I know him.
I've had to
He
write
is
those
a
letters.
rider.
I've had to
He
write
is
those letters before for athletes.
You got to put something out.
That letter sounds to me like he deleted a sentence out of it. Someone wrote it for him, and he deleted the important sentence out of it.
Absorb.
Right? Because
sentence number 1.
Because that point where it jumps in the sentence to, and I appreciate all the support.
Yep.
Right before that, there was supposed to be something.
Think?
Yeah, it's been taken out
Yep.
from whoever originally wrote that letter.
Well,
that's my interpretation.
This is where you have experience.
Yeah.
I don't.
So Racer X is saying below is his apology, but not once in the letter does it say I'm sorry, which is fine. If he's not sorry, like you said, Jim, don't say I'm sorry.
So
but
maybe
then why
Racer X should have
issue-
said below is his statement.
Correct.
There you go.
Agreed.
That's exactly what it is.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
And
But
maybe that's the faux pas on Racer X and not him.
Yep. I agree. But when
I don't think he is sorry.
Probably not.
He thinks that kid's a punk, and he would probably want to do it again in the pits.
So fine, if he's
Pike is the
happy
real
with
deal like
teaching
that,
a
like we
lesson,
said.
then
And
no
who's to
problem.
say we're not going
saw-
to read about this the next day or two?
I
Beat
saw
him down at the test
I
track.
saw Pike in the Wiener Schnitzel suite during the main, and he
Is
was
that a real thing?
no, yeah,
Wiener
the
Schnitzel, okay.
JGR suite. Okay,
Oh, okay.
Wiener Schnitzels.
it was actually a Wiener Schnitzel.
Were there Wiener Schnitzels
suite.
in there?
There wasn't. Well, there was hot dogs.
You know
yeah,
what?
of course. Not the real dogs.
Dan and I were enjoying the Wiener Schnitzel
Hey,
suite in the JGR pit.
Hey, how about the Wiener Schnitzel races?
Yeah,
Did
that
you
was
see
cool,
the dog
wasn't it?
races?
I saw it. Yeah. So I love the
New
Wiener
form of
Schnitzel
gambling.
race, for sure. It
Good
just
job,
wasn't.
Rico.
It wasn't long enough. It wasn't long enough. They need a longer track. Those dogs were fast.
Yeah, it was
For
like.
having no legs, real
Yeah.
fast.
They were
Dude.
gone.
Do you know who won? Because we couldn't figure out who won because we all
the
had
number
bets on.
7 won.
Was it the 7?
Yeah, because I was looking at the 2. They had a green 2, so I was like, all right, the green 2. I think the green 2 got 3rd. Yeah. I know. That would have been a good bet.
Hey,
they
it
need
was
a
nice.
longer
Speaking
track.
of the number 2, it was nice watching you and Ryan out on the track together. He needs to fix his number 2. I'm not feeling that whole
The
graphic
RV2?
thing. The art.
He
yeah,
didn't race
whatever.
anymore. You
That's
don't care.
that was such
They
a-
need to put
I
a
think he
2X
did-
next
I
to
think
him,
he did
and
an
the 2
R-
goes with MC.
They need an asterisk next
I
to
like
his
that. I
or
like
something
that.
like that.
He's
yeah.
2X. There's 2 and 2X.
Anyways, cool that you guys got to go do a little.
Yeah, we had a blast. That was really fun. I was stoked to be able to ride with a group of guys, and the coolest thing for me was that I got to lead the lap with all those guys. So that was cool, and I didn't feel like
Still a racer.
I didn't feel too like dorky out there, which was good. So I was riding okay.
I think MC's knack over the triple looked better than the other number 2 also. So that's just mine.
Well, there's no one that's ever going to replace the 2.
There's a big
The 2.
debate all week long on Instagram about the 22s knack and the 2s knack. Chad does, you know what, those guys, Chad does a good knack. So we had a blast, and the track was fun, and I like I said, I enjoyed riding with those guys. I enjoyed being out in front of the fans. It would have been cool to ride like 5 more laps, really, but that would have been about it.
Little arm pump then.
I would have been like worn out after 5 laps.
I was wondering what you were going to do when you came up to the whoops, but you like wicked it on and just like right through the whoops like the stud that you are, man.
Hey, were
Still
the
got
whoops
it.
were the whoops like they normally are? I'd heard from some that the whoops were toned down a little bit.
The
for round
second
1.
set was mellow, kind of rollers. The first set was pretty good. It was a big set, but they were consistent across, so they were
They didn't
not
get chopped
too
up.
difficult. You know, in the final, maybe at the end of the race, but it was a packed track, and that's another factor that we haven't really discussed. All that rain last week, the Dirtworks crew killed it on the track.
Yeah, they did.
Track
I mean,
was
the
killer,
track
huh?
was perfect. It couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
So
you
hats
wouldn't
off
even
to
know
those guys.
You didn't even know it rained last week.
Exactly.
If you just flew into town and not been
I mean,
here.
it was crazy to think that at one point it was wrapped and there was like a foot or 2 of water on the track.
Standing
At some
water.
points, they
Crazy.
were pumping out water out of the track. I mean, it's insane what the
Guys were telling
Fell
me that
dirt
once
crew
they
did.
pumped the water and they put lime on the track, like the lime dries the dirt, right? And it just smoked like a chemistry project. Really? It was pretty crazy. But
No kidding, really?
Yeah,
I didn't
but
hear that.
But it sucked all the water out of the track, and it was perfect.
Yeah,
so
you only saw mud on like the tunnel going in. Is your
Yeah.
only clue that there was any mud.
yeah, pretty nuts. Pretty
Wow, that's
nuts.
pretty amazing.
Does anyone have the number 2 now, or?
No.
Well, technically, the way it works is when you retire, like Villopoto did. If he was to race a race and get points, then he can keep it. But I think you get your number for 1 whole year, and then if he doesn't race
Next
race
year.
next year it'll be up.
So when he races next year, will he be racing the 2X or will he be racing the 2?
I don't think he'll. I don't know what he's
There's
going
no-
to. He's got RV on his plates or something. I don't know. He went to Europe. Remember?
He's
It's
the
like Euro
recreational
style.
vehicle, man.
Yeah, I thought he's like racing Baja and. Like,
Well, he raced with Brenthal Industries for
He's
trucks.
fishing,
I think
man.
he was
He's
just
fishing.
like, I don't know. I don't
fishing and
foresee
hunting.
him doing. I don't see him
Hey,
doing much.
so it's the proper protocol. Let me just put it out there. It's the proper protocol. If you want to run the number 2 next year, to call Jeremy and ask his blessing.
Did Filippo call
So-
you
Yeah,
and
call
get your
me.
blessing?
Villopoto, yeah, he did actually, which was
did.
really cool.
Did he really?
Because
That is
Randy
cool.
Lawrence was his mechanic at the time, and he called me and was like, "Hey, we're thinking about running the 2. What do you think about it?" And so that's a great story. Before Villopoto was 2, he called me about it, and I don't even think I was like the actual owner of 2 at the time, but still, it was pretty flattering and really nice, and so that was really cool. And I think obviously Ryan's done a great job with having that number, and it's not my number. I mean, I've been several numbers. I just had that
your
one when
number
I
is 1.
ended, and I just choose to keep on running it. And
Number 1's your number, right?
I don't really have the balls to run number 1 all the time, even though it would look pretty cool.
I don't know. I think of him as the 15.
15's my rookie number.
Yep.
Which is good. I had
What about-
17
wasn't-
once. I
wasn't
had
it
125 was my original number when I came to pro.
What about
15
7?
was my first earned number. I
Did
never
you
had 7.
Never had 7?
No,
Who
I had
7?
3. I had 5 in the outdoor once. I had 3.
I think Ezra was 7.
Back when we used to change
Ezra?
numbers all the time.
Larry
Ward was 7.
I don't
Larry
think I
Ward
was
was
watching
7. Ezra
Supercross
was
when
11.
Ward was 7.
Ezra was 11.
Yeah, that's right.
No?
Ezra was 3 on a Honda.
Yep, at the end.
Yep, he was 3 on a Honda. I mean, that was when LaRocca was 7 once on a Cowie. I mean,
that's when the numbers changed.
We
every
changed
year
every
based upon
season,
points.
so it was, yeah.
Have they ever retired a number for a champion or anyone in Supercross?
If they were ever going to retire a number, they would have probably retired mine or Carmichael's, right?
Yeah.
So Baggett's number 4 and mine's Villapoto's number. So I don't think they should. I think that it should just move on. That's how it goes. And we all just run what we run. And
you heard it right there, folks. The king right there. Showtime. You might be able to have his number coming up next, so try it out. We're going to take a little break. More Supercross when we come back. The Action Sports Show powered by Toyota of Escondido. Rock and roll. Woo!
It's true. The best new cars make the best used cars. And Toyota of Escondido is once again #1 in Toyota certified used cars and trucks. Feel confident driving with the peace of mind of a 160-point inspection and Carfax report.
Toyota of Escondido. Toyota of Escondido.
You also get a 12-month or 12,000-mile comprehensive warranty from certified purchase date, plus a 7-year or 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty from original date of sale when new. Please ask for complete warranty details.
Toyota of Escondido.
Toyota certified sales leader for San Diego County for 2014.
The boys are back with 2 huge events coming to the Southland. Monster Energy Supercross, brought to you by Mission Motorsports Irvine, January 9th. It all starts with the season opener. Then follow the action one more time when the best riders take over Anaheim January 23rd, all at Angels Stadium. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster and participating Yamaha dealers. Allseas $5 more to have show prices subject to market demand. Additional fees apply. January 9th and January 23rd only at Angels Stadium.
What's up, guys? This is Donnie from FMF Racing. When I'm not straight out of Compton slinging pipes on the corner, I'm listening to the Action Sports Show powered by Toyota of Escondido.
You're on, guys.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Action Sports Show powered by Toyota Escondido Action Sports, your one-stop shop for anything and everything each and every week, Tuesday, 6:30 of the Action Sports World. Southern California lifestyle, Supercross, off-road racing, surf, skate, snow, whatever it is we do here and have fun doing it, X Games, UFC. You're going to catch it right here every week. But this is the launch of Supercross. This is the West Coast swing. So pretty much right now it's all Supercross all the time. So we want to let you know if you're on the website to, hey, follow our social media at TE Action Sports. That's at TE Action Sports. So you can subscribe to the podcast. You can also watch us live on YouTube if you're not already doing that each and every week. And, man, we're just coming off a super exciting weekend at Anaheim 1. Dan and I were out there having a great time hanging with the boys. I wanted to give a shout-out for the folks at Rockwell Booth. Thanks for the hookup on the new arm candy. Appreciate that. And, man, we had a good time. We were hanging in the JGR pits, throwing down Wiener Schnitzel, hanging with Monster, Wahoo's, Wing. It was a great time all the way around.
I'm a little jealous that you guys were at Supercross. I was at Arena Cross, and I didn't even get to recap.
Are we gonna see you this weekend?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to be in San Diego, actually. I have the weekend off from Arena Cross. Arena Cross still continues. I'm Baltimore, I believe. But since the TV, we only have 12 rounds out of the 14 that we do. So we're not doing the Baltimore round of Arena Cross. So I'll be in San Diego.
Well, I'll see you
Yay.
there.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Dan's
excited.
Dan's going to miss it. Jeremy, you'll be there.
I'll be there.
Bob?
I'm snowboarding.
You're snowboarding? Lorette, you're in another country?
There's snow coming to Mammoth. I'm out of here.
No, I'm not in another country. I'm in Ohio for the AMA award banquet. Yes.
Glad they put that on the weekend of the Supercross.
Yeah,
that's
why
a
would
good
they
one.
do that?
Ohio.
AMA, come on, really? Okay, so so let's talk about it, you guys. Let's get back to some Supercross. This is the Supercross panel.
Well,
Super panel.
We brought him up a couple times. I want to touch on him a little bit, and that's Bam Bam. Apparently, one of the things that we need to take into consideration is that Bam Bam, if you saw him take his shirt off, was covered in like road rash. So he had apparently, from what my resources are telling me, he had a pretty bad mountain bike crash leading up to the race, and so it might have very much been affecting.
Were you over there watching him take his shirt off?
Yes.
Dan, are you coming out of the closet?
It's amazing.
You did say you want to touch on Bam Bam.
Ooh.
I said it on record.
So he had a practice crash on his mountain bike.
So apparently he had a training crash, and he's pretty scraped up. And so I wouldn't be surprised if a little road rash heals up and we see a little bit of a faster Bam Bam. You know what it's like to race with road rash or
but if
do anything with road rash.
Those start
Sucks.
drying up, like you move and it cracks and you just start bleeding again. That's
exactly why I think that was happening this week and probably by next week.
With what Barsha needs is a shorter track, tighter track, and a better start, and then he might be all right. But I think the 4 guys that we saw this weekend that are going to be fast every week is going to be the 94, the 3, 41 is going to be quick at times, and then 21. Obviously the 21.
So you guys are still
Dungey, of course,
you're still
right now.
You're still
you can't throw
calling
the 41 at times.
You're still calling out 14. You're still not on the 14 train.
With the exception of the top 3, the other 2, but I think Barsha's going to have a hard time. Yeah, I mean, Cole gets good starts. I mean, he's going to be up front.
Well, let's just look at the top 6 riders and then a couple of the other top fast riders that weren't. I mean, you have a Supercross class that's stacked with 10 riders. Jason Anderson, Dungey, Seeley, Tomac, Roxon, Reed, Kennard. Then you have guys like Barsha who didn't do as well. And then you also have, so you have Millsaps, Tickle, Weimer, Bogle. Those are all going to, those guys were, I just told you before.
14th?
This is his first year on the 450.
I understand, but that's a talented rider.
He is a very talented rider, but we'll see maybe, his brother had just gotten into an accident. He was really emotional about that at the press conference. It's his first year in this series. Maybe it's going to take him a couple rounds to get his groove and maybe get, like a top 5 finish.
Okay, well, look, we're going to go over predictions here in a minute, right? Let's talk about the 3 guys that did land on the podium. We know we have a stacked field. That's, for us, it's great as fans, right? We're going to see some great racing all year long. It's going to be awesome. So especially if there can be 8 or 10 of those guys that can win or do well, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
However, I'm here to tell you that every year when I race, it was a new stacked field, and it was like, oh, man, it's so competitive, and it's like, oh, biggest field we ever had, all right? But in about 4 races, it leans down to about the same 4 guys that we'll all predict pretty much by then every week, and that's how it'll go.
Okay, then we're going to mix it up. After predictions, we're going to do a secondary predictions where Jeremy McGrath in his heyday would fit in this field.
You can't even.
No.
You can't even do that.
Yeah.
Look at he always wants to be the black sheep.
Let me offer this. I'm the newbie here on the show, but have you done an end of season prediction? Everyone's seen round 1. Everyone sees what everyone's got. Okay, what's in the crystal ball? Top 3.
We did a little. We touched on that a little bit last week. We thought, and the majority of us here thought that it's pretty hard to bet against Dungey's program because he's pretty steady. That's why I call him the diesel, because he just keeps it up.
Watch out
and
for Jason Anderson.
Yeah. So we were just talking about that, Bob and I, and if these guys let Anderson get a couple wins and get some confidence, he's going to be pretty unstoppable.
It's scary from Monster Cup and then seeing this. It's like wow.
I will say that bike of
Anderson's. What happened to me.
That bike of Anderson's looked like it was really working well.
I got these guys.
Yeah. Once he believes he can do that every week, these guys are.
I never had that.
Yeah.
You never had what, Bob?
That feeling like I got these guys. I own them.
Dan's got that feeling.
When I was racing, I didn't have that. I had a couple motos, but it didn't stick with me because then I hit the ground.
Yeah.
All right, so the King wants to go over the top 3. So let's hit it. The third guy finishing at Anaheim 1 was Cole Seeley, 14. So what are our thoughts on Cole Seeley, everybody?
Fast at Anaheim.
He won't be back at the podium for another 2 or 3 rounds.
Why? Wait, why?
Why? No, really, why?
Because I think that the other guys are gonna come into play, and he's gonna be back at the podium. But that's just my instincts tell me he's gonna step away from the podium for a couple of rounds. And if the history tells the future, then that's been his MO, to have a flash and then back off and then
Cole
come back
is
strong.
Cole is really good at Anaheim, so it could be maybe a week where he's away. But one thing that kid does, he gets good starts, so he should be able to give himself a shot every week to be up front. Whether he'll make it on the podium, maybe not. But I think he's riding well, and I think you are right in your point that everyone's probably going to be a little more relaxed this round 2 because Anaheim 1's out of the way. So,
yeah, I look at if Cole doesn't get a start, and say he comes out 10th, is he a rider that can ride his way into the top 3, where I think some of the other guys we're talking about can come through the pack and get to the top 3? Is Cole,
the Roxons, the
Dungies.
Andersons.
Yeah, is Cole capable of coming through that? And I asked this more for MC. Is Cole capable to come through the pack and get into the top 3 from back there, where we know the other guys have done it time and time again?
Coming through those guys, like I just mentioned, I don't think so.
Where Cole, if he gets the top 3 start, he runs like a rabbit out there.
Yeah,
in clean air, he can go.
Yeah, he can run good.
Hits his lines and goes.
I agree. Can Cole come from the back? Well, he can probably make some quick moves in the beginning. 10th to 4th, maybe. But, I mean, what Anderson did last week coming from a few spots back was, pretty awesome. I'm not even sure.
That was next level.
Roxon was crazy, too. He was down and caught all the way up. But Cole Seeley, you never know. He's a guy that's streaky, right? I mean, if he's in a great mood, confidence up, I don't know, but I would have to agree that if he's not up front, it's going to be a little harder for him to get to that podium spot.
I think at this point, at least, if he's going to finish a 4th, it's coming from the top, not from the bottom.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I think he has a great talent. Just like you said, Bob, gets a great start. He's going to be running in the front and going with it. But as far as someone who starts, it gets a bad start, starts 10th or 11th, 9th, and comes into a 3rd place finish after 20 laps, I just don't see that happening for Cole Seeley.
I think 10th he can ride to a 5th. But I think if he starts 6th, he could probably get a 4th or maybe a 3rd.
It depends on how quick he makes his move.
Exactly. If he makes moves quick, and he's got to get a few more laps in him too, because from what we saw at Anaheim, he fell off pretty hard. Reed fell off pretty hard. Barsha fell way back. I mean, there was a few guys that dropped off pretty hard at the end.
So now, is this the prediction for overall the season or for San Diego?
Oh, we're just talking, I think, in
general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Laurette? To the girl who had a pretty spot-on prediction for A1, Dungy in 1, Anderson in 2, and Tomac in 3rd.
You would have took the money home on that one.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Or to Germany.
I'm the idiot.
Finland.
You
Where
guys.
was it? Finland or Germany?
It was in Germany.
Yeah, you were way off.
Yeah, I'm going to
Thanks.
Finland.
I was the furthest
Miss
off. I'd like to
Supercross
claim.
for you right there.
I think
What do you know about Supercross?
Dunge is going to take the win in San Diego.
She's throwing a prediction already.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw my number 1. I think.
I thought we were dissecting them. Then
I know. That's
well.
You go
What
ahead.
do you think about Dungy's race Saturday?
Yeah, she didn't see it. She was in. Okay, well, let's go to number 2. How about that? We're all done with Seeley. We kind of got everyone's feeling towards Seeley. Let's move on to the number 1 plate, Ryan Dungey. Ryan, I mean, what is it? He is the most consistent rider. Doesn't he have the award for the most, one of the most Supercross stints of starting a race?
Starts?
In his career in the last 5 years, he's never missed. He's started every single race. I think we gave
consecutive starts.
Yeah, consecutive
we
starts.
gave him that. I think we gave him that award at some point, or it was a thing last year or the year before. I remember one of the rounds we started touching on that is Ryan Dungey has not missed a race, a Supercross race. He has not had any accidents taking him
Probably
out.
hasn't missed the podium in a long time either.
Yeah, he hasn't done that.
Guy's solid.
Yeah, the last time he was down was his shoulder. Wasn't it his shoulder?
I mean, but when was that?
Sheesh, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like the
Well,
only
I
time
mean-
he didn't get a win was when Filippoto was last year.
It's
Filippoto.
like we're talking about NFL quarterbacks, like with Dungey. The guy just
Yeah, he's just
He's like a
it's the
machine.
Yeah.
The reason he calls him the Diesel, he doesn't stop.
Yeah, he
is-
doesn't.
will always
Steady
be there.
and always there.
I think the Diesel's got a little chip in it or something. You know, like
As of recent, that's what I think.
Yeah,
in it or
as
on
of
his
recent.
shoulder.
Well, here's my opinion on
Maybe.
that. Dungey, as of last year with the new KTM, has been like had first 5-6 lap speed that we never saw out of him. Last year, like that title was impressive. He won races. He came from the front, came from the back, had good starts. He was aggressive. He was taking what
I
what
can't
he
remember
thought
a
was
start
his.
where he wasn't in the top 4 or 5.
Well,
even at the outdoors.
you could see the confidence level in that new bike that he's got, and it's continuing now. If it was up to Dan, he'd try to take out Stewart, but anyway, he was just trying to get to the front, I would say. But
he went down and rode his way back up to the front too.
yeah, he lose a spot or two right there when
Yeah.
Kennard took him out.
Had to come back.
But at the end, the guys that were around him when he picked his bike back up, he had 10 seconds on those guys. So he went right back out and just
He got
hammered them.
Tomac. He got Kennard.
Yeah.
He got Seeley.
Amazing.
And Seeley had a 5-second lead on second at that time.
I want to go train with Baker.
Could you imagine, what kind of training program? How many more championships you would have had if you were in part of the Baker factory back in the day?
I don't know.
I don't think.
The King.
How many more
I think he
possible?
was enjoying
I
life too
know.
much.
The King.
I
The
enjoyed
King was
myself.
living in Canyon Lake and was like, that's right.
Yeah, you see some of
on
those,
the water.
You seen some of those videos?
Yeah.
Did I see videos? What do you mean? I was on the boat, 5 years old, yeah, that's McGrath's house. And I'm like, Dad, what are they doing? We don't want to know
He's
what
like
they were doing in
this.
that
He's
pool.
like this.
All right, yeah,
Look
that's
over
what my
here.
dad was. My dad was like, stop, Dana, don't look. Let's go.
I don't even want to comment.
Okay,
This
back
could
to
go down a
racing.
I have a
You
young,
don't even
I have
wanna
a younger
deal with.
sister. So keep it down.
But yeah, you know what? The Diesel, Ryan Dungey, I think that, I don't know. I just really feel like it's going to be hard to beat him this season.
Overall, of course.
Overall.
Yeah, overall, of
100%.
course, yeah.
Dan, what were
But
you
is he-
alerting,
is he gonna- oh, sorry.
alluring to? You said there was a chip.
Yeah. I just
ship.
Meaning he's fired up.
Yeah.
he rides
Okay.
with an aggression that he didn't have always.
Oh, yes.
That we didn't see out of him. He
I
was.
thought you meant a chink in the armor.
He had that. He had that last year, though.
He did show it last year, but I think he came out with it
He
even
had a sense
more
of
so this
urgency.
year. Urgency.
It's
that
like
he
he
has
wasn't
never
content.
Had.
He wasn't content. He was like
Well,
on a
that's
mission.
good.
He used to.
When
he
you're
used
the
to
champ
come
and you're
out
not in the lead, you're not content.
and
But
just
in the
kind of
past, Dungey's been kind of
cruising, and
Yeah,
then
I
letting
agree.
people get.
Hey, it's a
their
17 race season. It's going to
Yeah.
come to me. It's going to come to me. But he was like, I'm getting through the pack. I'm getting there. And I'm going to win this race. Where if I was in Vegas and I could take the field,
If
I
win
would
all the
bet
races,
that
I should get the
Dungey.
championship.
He
That's
may be
right.
the best rider on the track,
It's
but
the
I would
best
bet
model
that Dungey wouldn't win A1 because he's in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
He's not in it for the one race. He's in it to win the
Yeah, and
championship.
you really wouldn't bet against him to have not be patient, right?
Never.
Where he was, Trey kind of bumped him a little, and then he made the mistake of making the inside line and getting in with James, whatever. But typically, you wouldn't see that out of Dungey. However, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he was there. He wasn't that far behind, and he smoked everybody else except for Anderson. So, again, he's the guy for the
Most
long
of
haul.
these-
We don't know enough about Anderson and his championship qualities yet.
Right.
We know he can win races. He's proven that already over the last couple months, and then A1.
Well, you got to remember A1 last year, he took second.
Yeah.
And then he was on the podium again. And then we didn't see him back on the podium.
For a
Monster
while.
Energy Cup?
Yeah.
He's dominating up
No.
there.
I'm
Right,
talking
I mean,
about
oh.
the 2015.
Did he not make it back on the whole rest of the
From
year?
what I
No,
remember,
he did one
and-
more, I think. Won a couple
But it
more.
was
he
way
did.
down
He
the
did
line.
Phoenix and he did A1, and then for some reason,
Fell off
I
for a
mean,
while.
yeah, there was not a podium from him for a very long time, and so it's great to see him back on top again, just to see what he can do for the long haul. He does have a pretty good, compared to some other riders, he keeps it on two wheels. I think he
Even with his little
Wild
bit of wild
style.
style.
Yeah.
Two
Yeah.
wheels, yeah.
And now here's my biggest thing is here you go. You have Ryan Dungey, Jason Anderson, even Moose Skin. These people are training week in, week out at the Baker factory. Alden has both these guys on winning programs. How is it going to make Dungey feel knowing that Dungey's probably Baker's number one guy? You know, he's
No
probably
doubt.
paying him to be the number one guy on the program. And now he's going up against a guy, Jason Anderson, who just pulled out a win at season opener. What's that going to do to each other's mentalities? Is that going to bring bad blood during the training program?
Well, the hope would be that it would drive major competition.
Well, of course.
And they'd push each other.
Yeah, but they're riding against each other down at the Baker factory.
You think
they already know
Dungey's too nice to go, you know what, Eldon? We got to get Anderson out of here.
I don't know.
For the training part.
I don't know. That's what would be what I would like to call a Filippo move. That's what I would like to call a Filippo move.
I've heard that.
I don't think Dungey would do it. He's too nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard that Dungey can get eggy like that though. When like when he had Roxanne and they were both in the KTM rig, there was some egginess going on at practice, and then apparently even with guys as great as Andrew Short, maybe was putting in better lap times, and he was kind of getting all eggy about the whole thing.
What does eggy mean? Like Lego my ego or what?
A little frazzled.
Yeah, just edgy.
Where does Dan come up with this stuff?
I know.
We've seen
he's frothing.
Eggy.
We've seen the classic videos from back in the day when Ricky Johnson brought Jeff Stanton in to train with him. You remember all those videos back in the day with Factory Honda and all this stuff? And Ricky was like the man. He was known for his crazy training program. Brought Stanton in to be the understudy, and then he started training. They were doing all this stuff together, and then Stanton started winning, and then it was like it upset the apple cart all over the place, right? And then Ricky got hurt. End of his career, Stanton's the number one guy. Boom. The whole, I'm not sure what's the age difference between Anderson and Dungey.
What? Just
really good question.
You got to think about.
Does anybody know that?
Jason's
like 21.
21 or 22.
No, he's not that young. He can't be that
Jason?
young.
I think
Yeah,
he's
he's young.
pretty young.
Are you serious? He's that young?
Yeah.
I feel like he's like 24.
No, Jason's 22.
Google it.
I'm betting
maybe
he's 22.
We got to go to our last and final break. We're
gonna
gonna
come back with the age.
We're going to come back with the age. We're going to talk about a couple more people, and then to end the show, we're going to get all of our picks for San Diego 1 next week. This Saturday coming up, folks, the Action Sports Show. We'll be right back. A whole lot more.
One name you should know, the best place you can go, Toyota of Escondido.
It's official. Once again, the truck pros at Toyota of Escondido sold more new Toyota trucks than any other Toyota dealer. That means more smart buyers like you trusted Toyota of Escondido's Truck Center to find them the right truck for work or play.
Toyota of Escondido. Toyota of Escondido.
It makes sense to buy from the truck sales leader. Let Toyota of Escondido customize your new truck to fit your active lifestyle. Choose from lift kits, custom tires and wheels, and much more. Come experience a whole new way to buy your next truck.
Toyota of Escondido.
Toyota truck sales leader for San Diego County for 2014.
The boys are back with two huge events coming to the Southland. Monster Energy Supercross, brought to you by Mission Motorsports Irvine, January 9th. It all starts with the season opener. Then follow the action one more time when the best riders take over Anaheim January 23rd, all at Angels Stadium. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster and participating Yamaha dealers. Aussies $5 more to have show prices subject to market demand. Additional fees apply. January 9th and January 23rd only at Angels Stadium.
Hey guys, Travis Pastrana here from Nitro Circus, and you're listening to the Action Sports Show.
You're on, guys.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Action Sports Show, powered by Toyota Escondido Action Sports. We're live. It is Supercross Super Panel Night. One more time here. Jim Holtis, Lorette Nickel, Bob Walker, Diana Dahlgren, Jeremy McGrath, and Dan McGranahan, and we're just discussing everything that went down with Anaheim 1. And there's one more name that I wanted to touch on that we didn't really come up tonight. One of our sponsored riders here, Toyota of Escondido, on his way back, and that is Dean Wilson. Had some okay
Poor Dino.
Speeds parts, but had some some problems.
You know, I think he actually came out swinging. I think he lost his groove. He lost his groove, but
yes.
Don't be surprised if you see him stepping back into that. I would project he's ready for maybe to battle for the 5th, 4th, and then we'll grow from there.
Yeah.
He's going to be a factor this year. I am not counting him out at all. His speed really impressed me in the heats.
Yes.
I agree with you. I think Dean Wilson rode great. I think, he finished 9th in the final.
Yeah.
He got taken out by,
It's not bad, and his heat
wide
races
glide.
were good. He was battling.
Good boy.
Yeah, Dan, do you think
boy?
he's going to be a
Breezy, is he your
championship?
boy?
Do you think he's going to be a championship contender or a
Mm.
podium
I wouldn't
contender?
put that pressure on him at this point. I think right now what he needs to do is just go be consistently 4th and 5th, and then let it go from
I
there.
think he could be next year. Get into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So give him a season.
I'm really bummed that James went out so early because I really wanted to see what he had.
From a fan's perspective, it's a bummer.
Really? Yeah.
You know, because he was moving fast, and we want to see the speed race. We don't want to see, Vince Freeze out there.
Nutrition race.
What did we call last week? Me and GL both sat here.
It said he's
and
going to
said,
crash and go out.
He's going to crash, and he's going to take riders down with him. Well, thank God he didn't take any riders down with him.
Yeah, but it wasn't really his
didn't even
fault.
crash.
When he
Yeah,
crashed.
I know. But still,
But
I just
I
it's
know.
typical Stewart.
The end result was the same.
It's typical Stewart. He ate it. And then not only that, some people have mixed emotions on the way he acted in the red flag. Some people think that he faked the whole getting knocked out thing, which I don't think he did. But
He
some
didn't
people,
move.
some people say
Faked it?
some people are thinking like
Well,
he
these were
almost
people
was
that were
like, you know
drinking.
what? At this point, I just got my great start
Faked it?
ruined. So I'm just gonna play
I
dead
think you're
here.
right,
What,
Bob.
people on
There was
Instagram?
drinking
Yeah.
involved with those people.
Bob and I had a really great view for this
Playing dead.
particular wreck right here,
No.
and he was
What do you think?
He was asleep.
out.
That's what I thought.
He was asleep at him. He looked like Antonio Brown when he got hit in that playoff game. Both were. I mean, and I don't mean
Is that football?
I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean when he hit the ground, it was a hard hit, and it
was.
was one of those hit. It wasn't a high speed hit. And Jeremy, we some of the worst injuries
Slapped his head,
are the
though.
guys that aren't going
Yeah.
fast. You see the violent
It's a slingshot.
butt over tea kettle crash. You're like, man, there's no way that guy's going to walk away, and they get up and race. And James, he couldn't get his hands out to brace him. There was
his
no-
head was the
it
first
was
thing that hit. Yeah,
whack.
I mean, he got pretty slapped down pretty hard. So, again, I think you hate to say it, but the guy's hit his head a few times.
It doesn't
I had
take
heard
that
he had a
much
crash
to put him
coming
to
into the
sleep,
race
probably.
about 5 weeks prior, where he hit his head. So let's hope that he doesn't have the Travis Pastrana type thing going on, where you just barely bump your head and you kind of get knocked out. He is winding it down in the end of his career, probably in the twilight years anyway.
Would you say this might be his last year? You think he's got one more?
It's hard to say. I think
Depends what happens this year.
Yeah, what's your if my prediction is if he misses 3 to 4 races and then comes back, I think he'll do another year.
Is there a
But he
rule
needs
with-
someone to offer him a ride, though.
Yeah, I don't know what his contract situation is.
Yeah, I think he's in
like.
a contract year. Is he, Dan?
I
Well,
don't
then
think
he
that
needs to
he's-
come out and win some races.
I don't think he's going to ever have trouble getting a ride because he warrants too much attention win, lose, or draw. If Brayton can get a ride, I think James Stewart can get a ride. How good of a ride? And obviously James is going to be very picky about what ride
He's
he
not
does
going to go
get.
taking a BTO ride or something
Hey,
like that.
Talking about James, one thing I wanted to bring up earlier, MC, I was going to ask you is, did you see him, the lap before he crashed, when that section through the Dragon back, he hit that thing like there was nothing even there. It reminded me of it was the old James. And I told Dan, I think I told you we were standing, so I go, watch James through the Dragon back this lap, and that's when he went. He didn't make it, and it was like a straight line that lap before. I was like, that is the old James. It was that flash that he was back.
That's what we all love so much about watching that guy. I mean, just the brilliance and this pure raw speed he has. It's amazing. But it's just a bummer the way it worked out, because I think there was, regardless of how his suspension went, all that stuff, I mean, people were pulling. They want to see him do well, you know, and just kind of
You could
feel
hear
like
the
he
fan
got
reaction. The fans. That was the
Everyone
other
loves the underdog, you know, and he's now the underdog.
We used to go to Anaheim and they'd boo him.
Yeah.
And now I heard the fan. That was the other thing I picked up was I couldn't believe
great.
the positive. I shouldn't say couldn't believe. It was impressive to hear the positive fan reaction towards James when he was making passes. Everyone was like wanting him to do well.
I think it would have
was
erupted
good.
had he led a lap.
Oh,
because it was
absolutely.
when he was passing with Anderson, they were like, it was building
building.
up. The noise was coming, and you're like, oh, and then it was all of a sudden, you know, like you crashed. But you could feel the anticipation. If he could just get to the front, people were going to be freaking out.
Okay, we're at that point, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for picks. We're running out of time. Start with Dan McGranahan. Kick it off. Who's your picks?
Well, let me pull it up here because I actually have already placed my picks. And so
we don't
give me
have
a
time for
second
you to
here.
play.
Come on, Dan.
All
Start
right,
with
let's
someone
go.
else.
Let's go MC then.
MC, who's your picks?
Man, I think Ken Roxon's going to be on the charge this next
One,
week.
2, 3. Give me 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
for San
3.
Diego.
All right, I'm gonna say Dungy first, Roxon, Tomac.
You're killing me.
Is that not good?
I think that,
No, I
that's
gotta
where I was
change.
going.
Dungy, Roxon, Tomac.
Oh man.
I think in my wild card will be, of course, Anderson again. But I picked Anderson to win A1.
Yeah, you did.
So
cool.
That's really awesome.
I think he's a factor regardless. I just, you know, Dungy I think is going to be up there. I think, you know, Anderson could win again.
You got it?
Without a doubt, he could win again.
I got it. I got it up right here.
Okay.
We're doing top 5 and a
top
12th
3
place.
That was top
No, we're
three.
doing
Just
top 5
top
and a
3
12th
for
place.
the show because we're running out. We got
Wild
Come on, Dan.
card.
You're slowing us down.
All right. Well, we're doing this.
Top
you know,
3.
Rocky
What's your
Mountain.
top 3?
All right,
Top
Diana,
3
I
is
have Ryan Dungy. I have Eli Tomac.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Anderson third.
Okay.
You're stalling, Dan. Let's go.
No,
All right,
I am
here we
running
go.
the
Here
show.
we go.
people.
I'm on the record, and I can't go away from the diesel. I want to break the
How can
code,
you?
but I'm
Right.
going to win this thing on my second and third picks. Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna go there. and I'm going with the kid from Oklahoma, my boy, the 41.
So you're going
For 1, 2,
5
3?
or 1.
Fi-
1, 41.
Dungy,
Okay.
Kennard,
Yep.
Roxon.
And that's what I'm kicking around because he's
Kennard
the
won
reigning-
San Diego last year, right?
He
Yes.
won San Diego
Yeah,
last year.
yeah.
So
And he is pissed off. The
Yes.
redhead
Fired
is
up,
pissed
fired up.
off. And
Yeah.
he was very fast.
He was very fast. No doubt. No doubt. It's hard. I mean, I love Trey. I want to see him do well.
I'm going to go Dunge. I'm sorry, Kennard. Kennard and then Anderson.
What, you want my picks? Or what?
Is that what you just did?
Well, I didn't take Anderson.
Yeah,
I
I'm going
took
to go
Roxon.
Anderson. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go Anderson,
Roxon's
and my
gotta be
wild
pissed,
card's
too.
going to be Roxon.
Fired up. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm doing Anderson, Dungy,
Back to
Kennard,
back. Wow.
Reed.
Kennard. I only needed 3. Anderson, Dungy, Kennard. You got
Yeah,
it.
if you need a tiebreaker for me, my fourth is Tomac.
Okay.
See, my fourth would be, I think I have fourth Anderson, and then I was going to be 41's got to be, like, that's the top 5. I don't know which order.
However you, yeah.
So our Powerball rider.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
we have
choosing.
the wild card and the Powerball.
did you
Yeah.
did you go?
What? Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going Kennard.
Nice.
I think Roxon's going to take number 2.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't want to just do the automatic Dungy, but it's hard not to.
You guys, he's the champ.
I think
that should
Reed could be a factor, but I think he'll be a bigger factor in the later on one. So I am going to go ahead and go with Dungy for third. But I
All
think
right.
Reed might land in the top 5
Who's your wild card?
No, whole shot.
for
Oh, whole shot.
for wild card for what?
Just who's your dark horse? You got your top 3. Who's like the guy that could blow your whole top 3?
Yeah, and obviously Jason Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean Tomac. I mean there's
Cole
dark horses
Seeley.
go wrong.
Cole Seeley maybe whole shot.
Yep. Cole gets the whole shot again.
But I think if he gets a whole shot, he's going to upset our whole pick here because he'll stay up there, I think.
There's just too many players to tell, you know?
That's
yeah,
what
that's
makes
the
it
fun
great.
of it, yeah.
Ah, this is good.
And then I think, we all know Webb's going to probably do the 250 deal.
I think.
What do you God, that's the
I
thing that
go
we didn't
Webb.
get to touch
Webb,
on is who's
Osborne,
in
Savachi.
who's the person who could really upset Cooper Webb? I mean, Cooper Webb's speed
Jesse
is
Nelson,
unreal.
but just don't know
Savachi.
if he'll be
And
out there or
Cooper
not.
Webb won San Diego last year injured. So how could you?
Cooper Webb is the one that can upset Cooper Webb, and that's
Cooper
about
Webb's
it right
going to
now.
be pulling in the championship by the 4th round.
We need to bet. We need our picks need to be 2, 3, and 4 in the lights class.
Yeah.
So hey, folks, we're just about out of time. So go to what's the name of the website for the
MXFantasy.com.
Rocky Mountain.
Oh, Rocky Mountains.
Rocky Mountain Fantasy.
Rocky Mountain Fantasy.
RMFantasySX.com.
RMFantasySX.com. Join. You got to search
the Action Sports Show. Yep.
Okay. So, hey, want to thank everyone for being out here tonight. Once again, a lot to talk about. Super exciting. We're going to be going down and see most of you Saturday down at the stadium. And also this Sunday, our guy, Dominic Cruz, goes up against T.J. Dillashaw for the title. And that's Sunday for free on Fox. So it's going down. So it's going to be good. Super exciting. Definitely want to check that out. Hey, I want to thank you all for listening. Don't forget to check us out here every Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30. Go to theactionsportshow.com for more information. Follow the social media at TE Action Sports. Download the podcast. Go to iTunes. Put in the Action Sports Show. And from all of us here at the Action Sports Show, help you have a great week. Remember not to text and drive, and we'll see you next week right here on the show. Who's going to be the big winner? We'll have to find out then. See you next week.